If you have a strong desire and you have beliefs that contradict it, you're going to get your desire, but it's going to be a painful process, but it doesn't need to. And knowing what you now know, it will never need to be again.
Can you say that again?
When you have a strong desire, anything that you think about it becomes a player. So if you have beliefs that contradict your desire, those beliefs are going to get in the way. A car that's going 5 miles an hour and hits a tree, not really a big problem. But if you're going 100 miles an hour and you hit a tree, that tree, which is the resistance, is a big problem. So when your desire is strong, your desire can still triumph over your lackful belief, but it's painful in the unfolding. So once you know that, in other words, it doesn't have to be painful again, just from what you've learned from the conversation that we've had here today, just from what you've taken in as a result of these words that we have shared together today. You now know better. You now know that you're supposed to feel good. You now know that when it is really flowing, that it does feel good. There is always progress, you see. And we're not saying that painful things don't sometimes yield you what looks like results. But so many of you live in a world that is action-oriented. And so you try to compensate with your action for a vibration that you haven't cleaned up. So we've been saying recently to our dear hearts that are playing with us in these gatherings that we think it would be a good idea if you would act 50% less, do 50% of your current action, and do 50% more thinking. We think you should only do about 40% of your current action. We think you should only do about 30% of your current action. About 22.5% of your current action. We think you should act far less and imagine far more and contemplate far more and meditate far more and get massages far more and put your feet in the water far more and move your body far more and enjoy life far more and do those things you feel like you need to do, about 22.5% of what you're doing, and watch the results in your life, because the belief in action causes you to fill your plate so full with moving about and talking to other people that you don't tend to the vibrational alignment, which is everything. This is tapping into a leverage, you see. So that's why people, they try hard and they don't get results, and they follow rules and they don't get results, and then they think, there's got to be a reason that I'm not getting results, and it cannot be for lack of trying, and it cannot be for lack of acting. It must be karma. I must have done something in a past life that is preventing me in this life. And we say, no, nothing like that's happening. When you came into this experience, first of all, when you reemerged from any life that you've ever lived, you left all that negative stuff on the physical trail and reemerged into pure positive energy. And that's who you bring back each time, that fullness. So there isn't anything like that. But there are habits of thoughts that slow you down. And the biggest thing, we can feel it with you, we can feel it with so many of you, is a belief in action. Action is so delicious when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you are translating this broader non-physical perspective into a impulse to act. That kind of action, there's just nothing better than that. That getting a feeling and following through with it and seeing the results of that feeling. But action just for the sake of action. Action to fix things that are broken, or action to compensate, or action to make up, or action to make an impression. Action in and of itself without inspiration is counterproductive. Not just slow, it's counterproductive.
I believe everything you're saying, and I think that I have two questions, because I ultimately got this dream that I wanted, but it was a bit painful. And when I was talking to some spiritual leaders that I speak with, they said, those relationships, those employees were karmic relationships, and that's why you had an office manager that embezzled, or that's why these things happened, after a business for 19 years.
They're wrong about that.
That's what I wanted to know.
It is our promise to you that anything that's active in your vibration is why you're experiencing it, but it's because it's active now. It's not because it was active then. That defies everything about the laws of the universe that we know to be. Now, it's possible to have a vibration and to keep having the vibration, but not through the clearing process of the death experience. Everything that's active within you now, you activated in this life experience. Everything that's active now, you see.
Yes.
You are an extension of source energy, and anything that you're bringing from source is not that stuff. You didn't get it wrong. You didn't come back because you got it wrong before. You came back because it's fun to do. You came back because creating is who you are. You're not compensating for anything.
So there's no
Those are
old
just
debts with people from past lives and all that stuff that have to be cleared in this lifetime, and that's all.
That's all excuses for why things aren't going better now. When you're little, you blame your mother. When you're older, you blame your children. Because it feels like something is really screwy. You innately know that you are blessed. You innately know that you are good, and you innately know that things should be working out for you. And when they're not, you just go a little nutty trying to explain it or justify it. So sometimes you get desperate and look into past lives. Often you're desperate and you try to blame it on somebody else, or on the economy, or on the government, or on the environment, or on the circumstances. But what it comes down to is, if you will take responsibility for your alignment with thriving, you will thrive. And anything else just doesn't work, you see. You can blame anybody that you want, but in that blaming game, you are cutting yourself off from your receptive mode, and you're not receiving the clues, even though they're being offered to you constantly. It's so exhilarating to watch you, because we can feel the power of your desire. And sometimes, in contrast, your desire just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And we know that eventually your desire will get strong enough that you'll have a breakthrough. But we don't want you to break through. We want you to dance through. We want you to sing through. We want it to be a pleasant process. It's what you intended, you see.
Hi. Oh, man. My heart's beating.
That's good.
Yes. So, Abraham, my question is about emotions. I know that they're my guidance system, and I feel them.
Because they are indications of vibrational variance.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't that good to know?
Love it.
Yes.
The intensity
Yeah.
between the full ranges.
If you really, 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 really want something, and you're really, really, really focused in opposition, it's a really, really, really strong emotion. If you sort of kind of want it, you sort of kind of aren't focused on it, sort of kind of doesn't feel very good.
Right.
So your emotions tell you everything. They tell you the importance of it to you, and they show you where you stand in relationship to it.
The intensity. So the joy is like incredible. And then the contrast is beautiful. And then I'm standing in both places. And then I'm also noticing it around me. And the manifestation is incredible. The intensity has got me by, it just has me by my heart.
Well, when you have strong emotions, it means that you're focusing. It means you're giving a lot of attention to something. In other words, you've launched these rockets of desire, and there's a vortex version that is calling you. And so the way you feel is about your flow. When you understand this and you're going with the flow, then it just gets stronger and stronger and better and better and clearer and more and more and more and more. And like a wheel that's moving really fast and you stick a stick in it, that can be a sort of abrupt thing, can't it? And so intensity is a really good thing. But like with all things that have to do with speed, the more speed you've got going on, the more focused you really want to be. In other words, if you're driving 2 miles an hour through a parking lot, you can put your makeup on. But if you're going 80, 90, 90, 90, 95 on I-35, might want to pay attention to what you're doing.
Okay, so that's really beautiful. I appreciate that. I feel it. I go 150
Yeah.
with all my emotions. And there's some people out there that would agree and say yes. And I'm not a child. but I feel sometimes like a child with my emotions. I really do wear them on my sleeve. And I guess, Abraham,
Well, we want you to be pleased that you have emotions, and we want you to be pleased that you are aware of them. And we want you to understand that the subject of law of attraction and the subject of momentum and the subject of intensity are all the same subject.
Okay.
So if you are aware of the way you feel, and the way you feel is good, then continue the focus as you are and expect that law of attraction will cause the momentum to increase, and you will just feel stronger and stronger and better and better and better. But if it is a subject where you don't have control of the way you feel because you're sort of focused all over the place, then don't focus so intensely. Be wise enough. You know, you've seen it. Haven't you seen a problem escalate in a parking lot? And couldn't you have imagined it would have been better if somebody had just walked away earlier? And so it's just a matter of being aware that positive emotion means give it more attention, negative emotion means give it less attention. And so don't wear the intensity of your emotions like a badge of honor. That's like not even using your guidance in the way that you intend to use your guidance.
Okay.
In other words, if it feels good, give it your undivided attention and expect it to get more. But if it doesn't feel good, withdraw your attention from it as best you can, as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Now, law of attraction sort of has hold of you. This is what you're describing in yourself, and it's true of a lot of you, is that when you are deliberate, when you are strong in focusing, that means you have a pattern of being strong in focusing whether it feels good to you or not. So whether it feels good or whether it doesn't feel good, you're still like a dog on a bone. You're still giving it your undivided attention, which serves you when it's in alignment with what you want and who you are, but it doesn't serve you otherwise. So make that distinction. Remind yourself that you do have the capacity to be a better selective sifter about what you give your attention to. But be kind to yourself, because law of attraction is the momentum building factor. So sometimes you'll jump into a belief that maybe it's been dormant for a while or not very active, but it doesn't take very long for a belief that has not been troubling you to begin raging. And it's because you have not taken the opportunity to diffuse it by focus willing it and leaving it in a better feeling place. Okay. And so sometimes it feels like you're being blindsided. People will say, Abraham, it just came out of the blue. And we say, no, it came out of the oblivious. You had emotional guidance that was letting you know, and you chose to override it because your intellect made you want to focus tenaciously on it anyway. And so that's where action becomes more important to you than vibration. And a lot of people are doing that. And so because law of attraction is going to pick it up right where you last left it, sometimes there's quite a bit of momentum going, and when you focus on it again, off you go. But when you go to sleep at night, that momentum will subside. And when you wake up in the morning and that momentum has, for the most part, subsided, you have an opportunity now to leave that or to take that to a better feeling place. And so in the morning, when you're feeling better, we would, if we were standing in your physical shoes, do a focus wheel or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 to start that vibration off on, it's what you call getting out on the right side of the bed, or what you're getting out on the wrong side of the bed, or getting off on the right foot. It's all about that. So don't fight against momentum. Don't fight against the law of attraction. Just understand it. And then figure out how you can get your momentum working for you instead of against you.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Enough?
Yeah, I feel
this
that.
conversation is really good because everyone's got that. You call those your issues. And quite often you come to a seminar like this and that's what you want to talk about. You want to talk about your issues, and you are really disappointed when we put someone in a chair and they're there all morning long and they're talking about philosophical things, and we're very happy about the unfolding of this day because we've been talking about the things that really matter, and there isn't anything that we've been talking about that isn't really pertinent to what you are living. But when you get focused on an issue, every single time you are in a resistant mode and you are not making progress.